Of course, there's a lot of misery, but it's the same misery that is all around us. The trees here are in misery, and the birds are in misery. I don't think they sing. They just screech in pain.
Every day we're just screeching in pain.
That's what happens when you go film a movie in the middle of the jungle for 6 months. Welcome to the
Yeah.
Mind Your Movies podcast.
I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we are talking in part about Burden of Dreams, the documentary about the making of Fitzcarraldo. We're also
Yes.
talking The Omen because we're talking about cursed movies. And so these are kind of
First movie
two
sets.
cursed movie sets, right? So these are kind of two aspects of that, I guess. You've got The Omen, which maybe people think it has some supernatural thing to it. We'll talk about that. But and then there's the just actual production hell that was in
Yeah. You
Fitzcarraldo.
there's a supernaturally cursed set and there's a set cursed by ego and hubris. So
Yeah.
two different things. But yeah, both yeah, difficult filmmaking processes. But
Yeah.
we'll get into that. We're going to talk about the movies. We're going to, spoiler alert for once we get to talking about The Omen and Burden of Dreams and also Fitzcarraldo, because Burden of Dreams is about Fitzcarraldo. Uh, but before we get into that, we are going to give a couple recommendations, a little recap of some things we've seen recently, without any spoilers. So Ryan, do you want to kick it off?
I'll start. Um this is going to be a controversial one, I think, for the two of
Oh,
us, but I'm
oh
going to
boy.
recommend to people that if they enjoy the original,
Oh,
the
geez.
Paranormal Activity 2 is actually pretty good. um, this is, of course, if you guys have been watching for a while or listening, you know that many moons ago we did an episode on what was that one? What was that even on? That was on.
Was it found footage with Rec, maybe?
Oh yeah,
Was
just
it
found
Rec
footage. It was
and
the
yeah.
yeah, and my pick was Paranormal Activity, or no, was that your? I don't remember. Whatever.
I
But
think yeah, you picked Paranormal. I would not have picked Paranormal Activity. I
Shane
picked Rec.
Shane went psycho though and bought the box set of all the Paranormal Activity movies, watched through all of them,
Biggest scam
and
of my life. And I'm a Scientologist. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a Scientologist, but yeah, I mean Scientology might have a better bang for your buck than the Paranormal Activity box set. I'll tell you that much.
and Shane did not like those movies. Maybe the first one more than the rest, but actually, there was one in
No,
there. You liked
number
the
number like five, the one set in L.A., whatever that one was called. That was the only one that I liked.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of the original. I'm a big found footage person, and Shane very graciously gifted me the box set. So I watched the second one finally, and it was actually pretty. I liked it. It uses surveillance cameras, so we're moving away from just Micah setting up the camera on a tripod all night like a creep to now you can record people in your own house and stuff. So and I think there's actually some interesting stuff that goes on. I won't talk too much about it because I have a habit of talking a lot about found footage on this podcast, but I will say
That's your niche,
that's my
and I'm here
niche.
to play the foil, I guess, of the person who dislikes that genre.
But my recommendation is it's probably something that some people like if you're into that niche, right? Found footage and if you like the first one particularly, I think it's got some cool stuff going on. So
It is
yeah,
this the one with, I will just say, the stairs?
it does
There's some
have an iconic moment with the
Okay. Is
stairs.
that a spoiler to mention that?
No,
Because
no, I don't think so.
I would not recommend the movie. However, if you like find the movie, if it's streaming for free, if it's on YouTube, etc., you go find the part where someone gets yanked down the stairs, put it in like 1.5 times speed, and it'll be funny.
That's crazy. It
Because
is
it'll
that is probably I mean, yeah. You could
that's
just watch
comedy.
that. You could like loop that, but it goes like forward then backward. So it just like they
Yeah.
get dragged down, then they get zoomed up and then dragged down.
Yeah.
And that would
And it
be a
goes
pretty
faster
good
and faster. Maybe like what one time and then
double it.
1.25. Well, yeah, and then
Yeah.
eventually we're at like 5 times speed. It's just yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be a better use of your time than watching the whole movie, but that's just my opinion. But
Well, and I say
I'm
watch it.
glad you
So
liked it. I'm glad you liked it. I'm not trying to, that's okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right, where do I start? I'll say I watched a movie in theaters. I watched The Lost Bus, which is the new Matthew McConaughey movie with starring him and America Ferrara, directed by Paul Greengrass. And yeah, if you know Paul Greengrass, he did like some of the Bourne movies, Captain Phillips. He's known for and he did Bloody Sunday, which is my probably my favorite of his movies about the troubles in Northern Ireland and like a particular event of I guess the Northern Irish government uh killing Irish Republicans, but which is a very good movie. And this is sort of in that vein of based on a true story, gritty filmmaking, uh, a lot of handheld camera work. I won't say a ton of like super shaky cam, but it is a lot of handheld stuff. And basically, it's about Matthew McConaughey as a bus driver in Paradise, California, and it's in 2018. And there's a big wildfire that happens. He, he has familial issues, so his family is at home, but they need a bus driver to go pick up kids who are stranded at a school, on the east side of town where the fire is coming. So he has to get the kids, get them out, and survive. And it's a survival. Uh, yeah, it's kind of a natural disaster survival thing based on a true story. I thought it was really good. Honestly, this is one of those movies that you watch and you're like, that was really good, but also, I don't know if I ever need to watch that again. Like, literally, the first 5 minutes of the movie, Matthew McConaughey gets home and he's got a troubled family life. And then he gets a call. No, actually, before he walks in the door, he gets in his driveway and he gets a call from the vet, and they're like, "Yeah, it's time. You got to put your dog down." And then we see him actually take the dog to the vet, and it's like uh, we're starting the movie this way. Yeah,
That's
I know.
insane.
It's not like we see the dog die,
Yeah.
but it's like come on, man. So just for that, I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. But I really liked it. I thought it was really good. It's like gonna be on Apple TV Plus probably in like a week or two. So if people out there have Apple TV Plus, you can watch it. I think I don't know. I thought it was worth seeing in the theater. Um, but yeah, so I really liked it. Thought Matthew McConaughey was great as this sort of reluctant hero, like not a hero, but has to do something heroic. So overall, really good drama, really, really solid movie. Um, but not high rewatch value, I'd say.
That makes sense. That's tough.
Yeah,
Um,
it's very, very tense. Very tense.
mm.
I mean, there's pretty horrific. It's a wildfire, and like a lot people died in it and stuff like that. So it's a pretty heavy topic, but it was a really good movie. So I figured I'd recommend it. It's kind of going under the radar, not really getting. I don't know. I feel like no one's really talking about it. It's kind of just Apple TV or Apple was kind of just like, we'll just throw it in a few theaters for a couple weeks and then it'll be on our streaming service and people will kind of probably forget about it, which sucks that is what happens with so many streaming movies now. But yeah, I figured I'd throw it out there that this movie I thought was really good.
Nice. Yeah, this is one thing that we talked a little about last week or the week before, whatever, about like the fact that a lot of streaming movies are actually like getting theater releases now, which is nice, even if they're kind of limited. But we want to like
Well,
make that better, do more of that.
well, I will say another movie I saw is a streaming movie that went straight to streaming and it became such a phenomenon that it got a wide theatrical release and made millions of dollars. K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh yeah. Oh yes,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Holy
I
cow. Yeah.
I watched it. My girlfriend watched it and she loved it, and then she rewatched it with me like a couple days later, and it was a fun family movie. I get why kids like it. Good songs, kind of cool animation and stuff. Kind of the story's very you know exactly where it's going the entire time. It's not a ground I mean, whatever. I'm not the target audience for this movie. The 28-year-old man that can't name a single K-pop song. Like not the target audience, but it was an enjoyable time. If you have kids in your life, if you have people who like K-pop, if you have to watch this, You're not gonna hate it, I don't think. I think the animation's pretty cool. It's pretty funny. The songs are good. The song at the end is probably the best one, like the climactic scene. Uh, so yeah, overall it was I thought it was pretty good.
Nice.
But yeah, that is also just an example of something which is very rare of something going on streaming and becoming so popular that it actually ends up getting a theatrical release and does well.
Yeah, can you even think of another example? That seems, I mean, other than like things re-releasing,
No,
way later, but like,
off the top of my head,
that's
I can't
crazy.
think of anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So kind of a cool phenomenon. It does show that people like want to go to the theater, even when
Yeah.
it's on Netflix. I'm sure a lot of the people that saw it in the theater were rewatching it, and they were like, they wanted to see it in the theater, which that's cool.
Yeah,
That's a good sign for movies, I
absolutely.
think.
Um, well, I'll throw in my next one, which is one of my most anticipated for the, winter season here that we talked about a few weeks ago, and this is Good Boy. Um,
Oh yeah.
this is that independent movie that was made that's like kind of like haunted house through the perspective of a dog thing. Um, and oh my god, this movie is amazing. It's way more emotional than I thought it would be. It's way more, it's like legitimately pretty scary at times and very tense throughout. Um, there's a couple of points where it's like uh maybe deliberately paced, and you could question that pacing, it's a little.
Isn't it only like 73 minutes long?
Yeah. So there
Hmm.
is that, but it is also still only 73 minutes, and what it gives you is totally worth that time. It's really well done. Um, the cinematography is really good, really fun. The director, it's his dog, and he just spent like days trying to get like single shots for this. It took him like 400 days over the course of like 3 4 years or something like that to actually make this thing. Um, and it's pretty cool that it's getting a little theatrical release, and will be on Shutter fairly soon. And I would totally recommend people to go see it. It's cute because you got the dog. It's also scary because it's like legitimately a pretty well made horror movie. It's emotional because there's like some uh the dressing, the setting for what's happening is more emotional than I was expecting. And yeah, it's totally, man, I don't know. I can't even like gush about it enough. It's just really good.
Wow.
Um,
Good, great. I'm glad it was good. It looks like a cool movie.
yeah. One downside is that the theatrical release is a little more limited than I was hoping it would be.
Hmm.
But try to find it, right? See if there's like an indie theater near you, or even a bigger one that might have it, and go see if you can see it. And if not, maybe you can see it on Shutter when it gets out there. But
Gotcha.
worth watching.
I think it's even playing actually no, yeah, you're right. It's not playing at the theater closest to me. But
Yeah.
there is playing at a theater near me. There luckily there are a few theaters within like reasonable driving distance for me. It's playing at one of them, I know that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So living in the city, I went to Alamo. So if anyone's in the Boston, I know a few people around, um, a few people that listen are from Boston. So shout out to the Boston people. And I had to go to the Alamo. I think there's another one like up northern, a little bit farther up north, but like
gotcha.
past Cambridge. So if you're in Boston, the Alamo seems to have it.
All right, cool. That's good to know. I guess I don't know. I don't have a ton of like big things that I really want to recommend.
Yeah.
But uh I guess the last one I'll say is I watched The Trial of Joan of Arc, which is Robert Bresson's, you know, recreation of The Trial of Joan of Arc. And it's like 62 minutes long. It's uh it's all based on the manuscripts that they have from the trial. So it kind of shows how it was a sham and how she was kind of anything she said was taken in the worst way possible basically, and that whatever the English wanted to kill her because she was fighting for France against the King of England and all that kind of stuff. So it gets into that and into her faith and all that kind of stuff. Overall really good. If you're familiar with Bresson, it's very much in his style, like pared down, uh uh very simple, performances, not a lot of big like showy things. Like he called his actors models because they're just very very simple, like take away all the artifice kind of a thing. Uh, and yeah, it's like really well shot. His style has never been like my absolute favorite, you know? So I would say I mean, this is not the most groundbreaking opinion. I feel like this is kind of the standard opinion is that this is not as good as The Passion of Joan of Arc, the Dreyer movie from the 1928. It doesn't have kind of like that like bravura, like amazing climactic sequence that the Dreyer movie has. It's a lot more simple and straightforward, but it's quick. It's a quick runtime. It's interesting subject matter, and the last shot is pretty awesome. So I would say it's worth checking out if that sounds interesting to you. If that sounds like boring or just something you don't have any interest in, you probably don't have to rush out and see it. I don't think it's I mean, unless that is a topic that you're like, oh man, Joan of Arc, super interesting. Otherwise, I don't think it's the best way to start watching Bresson's movies. Probably start with like Pickpocket or A Man Escaped. Those are probably a little more accessible subject matter, I guess. But yeah, overall, I think it was worth watching. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Nice. Awesome.
And it's
Well,
streaming on HBO Max and I think the Criterion channel.
nice. Nice. Um, nice. Well, I don't have any other recommendations because I've watched a couple other things
Cool.
that turned out to be pretty garbage, and that's it.
Gotcha.
So,
All right, cool. I guess we can just get into the movies then. I
yeah,
guess the name of the episode is Omen of Dreams.
Omen of
So we
Dreams.
can start with the Omen. This was your pick, Ryan. So you have been waiting for this. You put this topic in the category cup specifically to talk about the Omen.
I
So
did. I did.
yeah, this was cool. I had never seen it before, and I'm glad I did. I really liked it. It was a really good movie. So go ahead,
Nice.
take it away.
Nice. Yeah. This is it's a classic, right? I mean, I think um I definitely put it in there just to talk about this, partly because it's been a while since I've seen it, and like I kind of feel like it was overdue for the rewatch here. Um, but it's so this is 1976, Richard Donner, um, and
Right before Superman. Crazy. I
right
think back
before,
I think back to back. So kind of
yeah,
crazy shift.
yeah. Well, I mean, and he's mostly known for like the Goonies and Superman and stuff, and not
And the
really,
Lethal Weapon movies.
yeah, Lethal Weapon. That's right, all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And not really for, I mean, obviously the Omen is foundational in its own way, but it's also really the only thing like this that he's done, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, no other horror in like his entire filmography from what I can tell.
Yeah. Odd to like do something. I mean,
Well,
yeah.
I think The Exorcist was such I was thinking of The Exorcist a lot during this movie, obviously. And I think The Exorcist was just such a huge hit and like critical success that this seems like it was kind of probably inspired by or like made off of the success of The Exorcist. Um yeah, is this so this isn't based on like a book or anything. It's just written by David Seltzer. He's
Yep.
just the screenwriter, yeah. So that's what I imagine like he wrote it after The Exorcist was such a big hit, and it ended up being actually a really good movie. I don't think it reaches the heights of The Exorcist personally. Not that like we have to compare it to The Exorcist the whole time, but I did think about that, and I feel like The Exorcist is a little more character driven, or
Hmm.
actually maybe like a lot more character driven. And this is more of a mystery. However, watching it in 2025, everyone knows the mystery, so it's
Right.
not the most engaging mystery, but that's not really the movie's fault that it just became so iconic. Um, but yeah, I think that is what like set The Exorcist apart, like it being so character driven and you really like get to feel for and like understand like the mom and the priests and the whole and even Reagan. Uh but yeah, this one is more like Gregory Peck, we don't really get any of his like characters interiority, or at least I didn't, you know what I mean? Like he kind of was just a which kind of works for the movie. Like he's kind of anyone can place themselves in his shoes, I guess, because he's just like a guy. I mean, he's like an international politician ambassador guy, so he's kind of
Yeah.
high status. But other than that, we don't really know much about him. Um, so yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think like obviously you're spot on to be like comparing it to The Exorcist, and I think it really is built off of that success, and there's this whole era of like pregnancy slash child
Mm,
horror, right, that spawns in this era, partly because of
yeah,
like
Rosemary's Baby.
yeah, right, and a lot of that, like there's just all sorts of tension at the time in like anxiety in there in the 70s, right? Like thalidomide, right, the drug that was overly prescribed in the 50s and 60s as like motion sickness or whatever, like morning sickness pills, whatever the fuck that means, and turns out to give like horrendous usually like 50% lethality for mortality rate for kids because it just gives like terrible birth defects. And so this was like coming out in the late 60s, early 70s. And there was just all sorts of
Well,
like anxieties around like kids and things,
yeah,
pregnancy.
that makes sense. And I mean, morning sickness is related to pregnancy, right? So that would make sense that it would, if it had birth defects, people are taking it while they're pregnant, I guess,
Yeah, right.
just to help with morning sickness or whatever.
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
that thalidomide thing was like
interesting.
a huge
And
thing, like the end of the previous decade. So I think like going into this decade, I think it was something that people were interested to explore in making horror, right? Like one way to release that fear of, pregnancy and kids and, all that stuff. So,
I wonder if like Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, and The Omen were maybe like so culturally influential that they contributed to like the satanic panic of the 80s, or at least like made it so that the general public was like aware of the idea of it, and that could be like exploited by, the media and to sensationalize a lot of stuff with the satanic panic and all that.
well, I mean, definitely, right? And like also like Charles Manson and stuff, right? Like I think there's
Mm.
just like it's just kind of like the peak time for that stuff, right? For some reason, like culturally in America, like this stuff happens as a response to like anxieties around pregnancy and kids, but it does lead into that whole uh satanic panic stuff and
And
this era there's also just like serial killers, right? Like I think the 70s and the 60s are like the first times when really serial killers are like talked about in the news a lot, and you end up with serial killer movies, right? We end up with like Black Christmas and the start of slashers and things, and all of like serial killer movies plus satanic movies plus serial killers in real life, especially ones that use satanic symbolism and things, you end up with what's next, right? Like people are going to be scared of those things.
yeah. And like there was MK Ultra. People make a connection with like MK Ultra and serial killers and like that perhaps they could have been the connection. Because I think was Charles Manson like involved in MK Ultra, or like I think he was maybe a like whatever a patient
Yeah.
of MK Ultra or whatever you want to call it. And I think maybe like the Unabomber too.
Yeah, I know Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber,
Yeah.
definitely was. I'm not sure. Charles Man, I mean, I believe it, right? I mean, um, but who knows, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, so I think definitely, right? I mean, I think these are definitely part of that huge impact in culture where the satanic panic comes around, video nasties in the 80s, right? In the UK and everywhere. And so, in a way, like these are some of the horror movies that maybe had the biggest, like longest lasting impact because they led to essentially um a lot of like censorship and also just legitimate fears and anxieties, right? It's like Jaws, right?
Yeah.
Jaws led to like so many people being afraid of sharks, and it's like, but they don't really hurt you, like
They can.
they can, but
It's
Jaws is very,
statistically unlikely.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but
And also the Satanic Panic, the 80s, a lot of that was around teenagers, and those are kind of kids growing up from late 60s and into the 70s.
yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. Kind of interesting. But yeah,
yeah,
the movie was really good though. I'd see why it was popular, you know? It was a
yeah.
well-made movie.
Yeah. And so I mean the brief premise, just to say it,
Yeah.
right, is, as everyone knows, I think, it's you get uh the the main character, he has a kid at the very beginning that dies as a miscarriage when it's being born, And so he's
Yeah,
convinced,
dies at childbirth. Yeah.
right? Yeah, is that not a miscarriage? Is that different technically?
I don't know. I think of a miscarriage as being like
Before.
during the pregnancy, but then I don't. I really don't.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
could be wrong. Yeah. But anyways, dies at birth, right? Like,
Yeah.
and he's convinced by a priest to essentially adopt a kid to, and the priest like pretty much tells him to lie to
The
the mom and be like,
crazy.
it
Yeah,
worked.
the kid's mom died in childbirth. So the priest is like, "Hey, this mom died, your kid died. Just take the baby and, you know, don't tell her and we'll act like nothing happened." Kind of a crazy way to start a movie. Just like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Don't lie about your kid's identity to your wife. That would be a do you think that'd be a
Yeah.
basic thing that people could do?
Well, it's asking a lot, you know? I mean,
Not really. Not really. Asking very little, actually.
and then the kid's baby, we skip forward a little bit. The kid's babysitter kills themselves. Lots of weird stuff
Iconic
starts
scene,
happening.
dude.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, lots of weird stuff starts happening, and just jumping right to it, the kid is the Antichrist, right? That's kind of the mystery. But again, like you were saying today, I mean, it's kind of like watching The Sixth Sense, right? Like, it's a really great movie and great mystery, but watching it today, it's almost like you know what the mystery is going in, most likely, right? And so yeah, so the mystery here, and there's that buildup of the mystery in the middle section where they go to Rome, they go chat with the people at the hospital. Um, there was like the
Yeah.
yeah, it was a hospital, I guess, and then they end up going and they dig up the graves, and there's this whole period where they're trying to figure out exactly what happened, and I think watching that today is kind of a little boring. Not like very boring, but I think that because the mystery, it's like, you're getting to the result of the mystery and you kind of already know what it is. I mean, the graveyard scene was not
Yeah.
boring. Like there's the dogs
No,
and that was
graveyard
awesome.
scene was cool. I was wondering, so in the graveyard scene, he sees his that the Damien's mother's grave is empty. Well, not empty. There's just like a dog body or
Yeah,
something in the animal bones are in there. And then Damien's or well, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I
right.
guess Damien's original identity, his grave is with has Gregory Peck's actual child's body in there. And it
Yeah.
has like a busted skull, so the child was murdered. But I was like who killed the kid and why? I feel like they don't fully explain it. Is it just that was it the priest who has already died who was a really cool I like that character as an interesting performance and I don't know. That was maybe my favorite part of the movie was him like
Yeah.
talking to him and all that kind of stuff. But Father Brennan, I think was his name. Was Father Brennan the priest at the very beginning of the movie?
I don't
That
think so.
okay, that's a different priest.
Yep.
So then Father Brennan is figuring this stuff out and trying to warn him to stop it. He gets killed. And then so all we really know is that there is some sort of person or group in Rome that wants to uh make the Antichrist
Yeah.
uh help the Antichrist become real or whatever.
Yeah. It seems kind of, again, like, I don't like, there's no explicit cult here, but it kind of seems like there's some underworkings of people who are helping to make sure this happens. Right. And obviously there's the babysitter,
Yeah.
the nanny, whatever.
Yeah, the
And
second one, Mrs. Baylock.
Baylock, who,
Which was that was an insane scene. They start talking to this lady, and this lady is the craziest, most suspicious acting person I've ever seen in my life. And then both of them are like, "All right, you can sleep right next to my child 24/7. I trust you, even though you're acting like a complete psycho. Yeah, that's fine." I was like, "What are you people doing? Worst.
yeah,
That's just the worst parents ever."
but she gave references.
Yeah, she gave. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when they're questioning her, she hands over the references, and that was
And
it. That was like, all right, we're good.
and their justification was like, "Oh, I thought you called her," and then the other one's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, I thought you called her." So they both just went along with it. I was like, "This lady, like, she just seems suspicious off, like immediately."
yeah. And they paid for that, huh? I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
throws
definitely.
her out the window. Jesus
They both
Christ.
die.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. Yeah. Um yeah,
And
and
they
so,
and they unleashed the Antichrist on the world. Yeah, they fucked up.
yeah, they did not do their best vetting of their nanny here. This is
No.
like a good lesson to everyone, right? If you have a kid or even like a pet sitter or something, just like vet them pretty well, you know? I mean, you know, otherwise
Yeah.
you might end up with an antichrist or antichrist kid, demon child.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's but yeah, she's like we don't also fully understand like why she's helping him. Like, is she brainwashed? Is she, like you said, maybe in a cult? Is this
Is she
like
the
what like
mom?
oh yeah, I guess that's
The
possible.
body's not there, right?
She is older. But yeah, she could be the mom.
So maybe she's the kid's original mom somehow. I don't know. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
possible.
right. We don't really know, right? Which is again like kind of part of the I think part of the eeriness to all this, right? Is that there's really no. It doesn't tell you how the anti. It doesn't try to explain like oh the mom got pregnant from this and whatever, right? Like it doesn't try to explain anything. It really just gives you what happens,
Yeah.
which I think works.
Yeah. I assumed it was like the mother was impregnated by the devil through some sort of like, anti-immaculate conception type of thing, like where the
Yeah,
Antichrist is the inverse of Christ. So it's like the literally the devil is literally the father, I guess.
that's what I assume too.
That's
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, like again, it doesn't really tell you, right? It doesn't. There's no there's really not very much exposition here, even in their whole like mystery hunting down thing. Um,
There
yeah.
is what with like Father Brennan and like like explaining like they make up that poem. That poem is like
Oh
they
yeah,
act like that's in the Bible,
they're
which is
reading
like
it from the Bible.
yeah, and it's like you can like look at a Bible and see that that's not there if you like you could fact check this movie, but I guess they were just like fuck it, no one will care, just make up a poem, put it in the Bible. But yeah, so there is like definitely some explanations of like there's like symbolism and prophecy of
Prophecy.
what's going to
Yeah.
happen that Father Brennan is figuring out. I loved how his room had all the Bible pages all over it, and he was like so justly paranoid, of and like just the scene of him running and trying to get away was really great.
Yeah. Well, and the
Although,
spirit photography was interesting, right? So the guy
yeah,
taking the pictures and notices the streak, the spear.
that was a straight. Yeah, that was at first I wasn't sure what was up with the photographer. Like, why is this guy in the movie? What's going on? And then it did become interesting. And his death is a crazy death.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
I will say the deaths in this movie are all really good.
Yeah, and there's almost some like Final Destination element to some of them, you know? I mean, with the emergency brake getting lifted and then
Yeah.
all that stuff. And
There,
there was another one earlier on that was kind of Final Destination. Oh, and not the I guess the mom getting like falling down the stair. Well, that wasn't really Final Destination, I guess, but I don't know. It felt like there
does
was a
she
lot of
get
setup with the goldfish, and then she's on the table, and then he runs up there.
yeah, yeah. But then yeah, the most Final Destination he was the
The truck.
photographer getting killed, and I was like, so so is the idea that the devil can just like pull the e-brake and then make this happen? And then I was like, well then why can't he kill Gregory Peck just right now?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
So
Um,
that's what like, and then also when uh Father Brennan is running away trying to get in, the church is locked, and then the lightning strikes and then the spear comes down. I will say the way it was edited, he could have moved.
yeah,
He could have moved. But it was really cool the way he was like impaled and all that, very creepy. But they cut it. They needed to have a little whatever.
yeah,
It'd be easier to fine tune that like editing nowadays, I think, just with like digital editing software. Whereas when you're actually like placing the film in, it's like such a more involved process that it can be harder to probably to time everything perfectly.
yeah,
But
definitely.
it was still a really good scene. I liked Father Brennan was probably the most interesting character to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's a part of like this early section of the movie is probably my favorite part, really, where there's so much like setup and so much like the nanny kills herself, and it's like super. It's like what just happened and why, right? And it's like
Yeah.
prompting all these questions, and the priest is trying to help you figure out what's going on, but um
And I'm wondering, like, I feel like the nanny, I guess she does kill herself, but also it seems like she's like possessed
yeah,
or
by like
mind controlled.
yeah, she like sees one of those dogs, and the dog kind of maybe
Hmm.
possesses her or something. I don't know, right? Like seems like it kind of takes over her.
I
Which is
guess, yeah.
interesting. The dogs seem to have a lot of power in this, but it's not really clear. And this is kind of true for like everything in this movie. It's not really clear what power who has, right? Like what does Damien actually do, and what do the dogs do, and what is the devil doing behind the scenes, right? Is
I
does
think I think it's the devil has all the power and everyone else is kind of just a pawn in the game. Maybe they've been possessed to certain degrees. That's how it seems to me. Like the dogs, I don't think the dogs are doing anything. I think the dogs are maybe controlled by Satan is kind of the idea that, and the way everyone acts, like the way the babysitter, the first nanny and the second nanny, the way they act, like it just seems very, and Damien, it's kind of, the Damien performance is kind of weird because he really just acts like a kid for most of the movie, but then there will be shots of him like staring at something and he's like has like a menacing, creepy look on his face. And so it's like, is he does he know anything or is he knowingly doing this stuff
mm,
and he's just acting like a kid? Or is he, is he really just being like basically possessed and he doesn't necessarily know it all the time kind of a thing? I don't know.
that's an interesting take. I feel like he acts like a pretty creepy ass kid most of the time. I feel
But like
like
at the but like at the I guess I'm thinking of it like this is just a kid acting and like 5-year-olds don't really know how to
oh yeah,
act. So like there are scenes where it's like, oh, that's just a kid. Like he's not acting like the Antichrist necessarily. He's just like at his birthday party having fun, or he's just like
right.
whatever. Obviously the scene when they go to the church is very suspicious, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. It
Yeah, the tricycle, he's just going around in circles on the tricycle.
that is weird. That's weird, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
is there a Damien or is Damien just basically Satan like in incarnate?
Yeah. Is he so he's like supposed to be kind of like the inverse of Christ, right? So like whatever that means. Uh
Yeah,
like
right, I
Christ,
guess.
yeah, I don't know.
Jesus Christ is God.
Right.
So Damien is Satan, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, whatever. Um
Yeah. I
but
guess
so
he maybe he's just good at acting like a little kid.
yeah, he's like
But also like, well, whatever.
but
I don't
also
know.
like I don't know. Like do you think when Christ was like 5, he was like,
Exactly.
like
Like he still had to do like human development,
yeah, right? So
right? Like he had to grow and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
when you're 5, you barely have thought processes and stuff like that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, me neither.
But none of this
um
is explained, but it's kind of interesting, kind of cool.
Yeah, and one thing that this movie brings to like the I feel like there's a couple things here that seem pretty impactful to like later on in cinema in like this era in this niche of cinema, right? Which is the 666, not even just in cinema, but like that was like not a very mainstream thing before, and then all of a sudden it's like this movie kind of draws that into the mainstream as, you know, part of that like satanic panic and all that, right? Like everyone
Hmm.
knows 666 now after this because
Right.
it's that prolific, which is cool.
Yeah.
Um
It is
and
in the Bible, I think, though.
it is, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not I feel like it's not very
It's not
mainstream before this at least, right? I
right.
mean,
It's not as like everyone knows it.
yeah,
Pop culture kind of a thing.
right.
Yeah.
And so that's I feel like one neat thing that it does is it kind of impacts what's coming later, and also with like spirit photography. I think
Right.
that's like kind of a small piece of this movie. I almost feel like it because it shows you the priest, and it's kind of like this little mystery of itself of like what is that on the photo, and he takes more photos and all that. But it's a really neat piece of the movie, and I think it um comes up later in other horror movies that do pretty well with it. So
Yeah, and in a way, that's like a super influential part of the movie where nowadays with like photography being so much more accessible. Like I feel like people looking for ghosts and spirits in photographs and videos is like a huge
Oh
like
yeah.
cultural phenomenon. Like people, a lot of people are trying to do that kind of a thing. So that was kind of, you're right. It is a pretty small part of the movie, but it seemed like it was pretty influential. And it does kind of like, I don't know. It is a cool part of the movie, but it kind of just dies off like when he dies.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, he took a picture of the nanny and look how this was, and he took a picture of Father Brennan, and that's weird. And then oh, there's a picture of myself, and it's already touching me. The shadow's already touching me. Like I'm probably fucked. And then he dies, and then it's like there's the photos never really come back to play. But also I think it was good to like add in another element of the story. Otherwise, maybe it could have been a little bit stale if it was just Gregory Peck trying
Yeah,
to figure this stuff out.
definitely. Um, well, one thing I want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about. I know
Yeah.
this is a weird one because unlike in the one that we're going to about later, Fitzcarraldo, the making, the like curse behind the making of this movie doesn't feel very prevalent in the movie. I feel like, and
Well, I mean, the whole movie's about demon or whatever, the devil possession, antichrist, supernatural stuff like that. So I think there is
of
connection, maybe.
course,
But also, I don't really know much about this. I like watched a little YouTube video of some vague things, and
oh,
I
cool, okay.
but it was like it was like a 5 minute thing. I don't even it honestly went in one ear out the other. So you know you like watch stuff. You're the expert. So I'm here to learn about the infamous supernatural goings on set of the Omen.
So I want to try to convince you of it, and then at the end we'll
Okay.
see how we're feeling about it. All right. So
Okay.
um
So should
so
I be well no, never mind. All right, go.
so they're starting the process, right? And everyone's coming on board. So Mace Newfield, one of the producers, and Gregory Peck are going over and they're trying to like get to the set, right? And both of their planes are separately, right? This is in September. Gregory Peck's plane, September of 1975. Plane gets struck by lightning. Everyone's fine, whatever. Then the next month, in October of 1975, Mace Neufeld's plane gets struck by lightning. Lightning doesn't hit the same place twice unless the devil does it, maybe, right? So like pretty odd, but
Not that they were
um,
necessarily in the same place, but that's okay.
but same movie set, right? Does the lightning hit the same movie set twice? Come
Well, but they were on planes in the air in different places, but okay. That's fine.
So, so that's where we're starting this at, right? And they had a religious. Did you know they had a religious advisor on set?
No.
This is weird. They had this guy Robert Merger, whatever, who was on set with everyone. I think throughout the whole movie, it seems like. And at the very beginning, he said, apparently, he said something along the lines of, "The Antichrist will do anything possible to stop this from being made." Um,
Ah.
So it sounds like maybe the Antichrist was like, here's a little lightning bolt, get you stopped, before
Okay.
you can even start. But apparently not strong enough to take down the plane. Except a charter plane that Peck was supposed to be on crashed and killed everyone on board and crashed into a car that had the pilot's wife and kid in it. And
What?
and they died too. Yeah, this was he just happened to not get on this. This was like a plane they originally chartered him for or something, or were gonna charter him for, and he wasn't on there. And instead, the everyone on there died, including the pilot's wife and kid that have were not on the plane, which is insane.
That is insane. That's crazy.
So during the production, they're in you know a pretty hot area, I would say. The IRA is kind of doing a lot of stuff right now, and they're filming right there, right? So, um, Neufeld and his wife are going to a restaurant, and like they're trying to walk up there, and a bomb goes off. The restaurant's gone. If they were in there like 5 minutes earlier, the one of the big producers of the movie would have been gone. Also, a hotel that the director was staying at blew up or was bombed the day after he left. Pretty weird.
That is weird.
So a lot of stuff, right?
A
Like
lot
it's
of
a lot of
close
stuff, a lot
calls
of close calls, and a lot of stuff that feels like, yeah, whatever, until you start adding them all up, right? So also the safari scene, right? There's this scene in the movie when they're driving through the safari like zoo thing
with the baboons
and the
and
baboons. And the car actually stopped. This wasn't like they weren't intending to stop the car there that long, which also their reactions were legitimate, which is cool, I guess, except for the fact that that sucks. But then the next day, the one of the workers at that zoo gets eaten by or mauled and killed by a big cat. That was like at the zoo, right? Like a zoo.
yeah, yeah.
So that's a lot of stuff that piles up during the production, and then after the movie is made, August 1976. The special effects supervisor John Richardson, his fiance gets decapitated in a car accident, and apparently, according to Richardson, there was a sign for the town Omen with two M's, Ommen, that said 66.6 kilometers away when this happened.
Whoa.
So that's all my evidence that I could dig up. I've got a few more things to say about it, but first of all, this is like more than half a dozen pieces of close calls and weird things and people's lives being in danger and stuff related to the movie. What do you think?
All right. I think that is crazy. A lot of crazy close calls. I think maybe the devil was working and trying his best to stop the movie, and maybe God stepped in and gave and turned people away and made the movie happen.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. So you're convinced.
maybe. Well, yeah, I'm convinced. Sure. I don't
Cool.
know.
Um,
I don't know.
so
If
uh
you genuinely asked me, was this set cursed or not? I don't know. I'd probably lean toward not, but
yeah,
it could be. It could be.
it could be. I feel like here's the thing, right? The
The
movie, like,
sign is very suspicious. What's an Omen? Ommen? Is that a?
that's a town, I think.
Oh, it's a name. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's
See,
like,
that's crazy. See, that's a little crazy.
but
If you're
here's
making a sign, just you don't need to do the 66.6 miles. We'll do 66.4 and then do 66.8. We can skip the 66.6 miles.
so this is like all the stuff that people have put together online to talk about the curse of the Omen, right? And I, like you said at the beginning though, like the movie's kind of about a curse, right? It's kind of like a spooky one, right? Some other like notable movies that have curses behind them, right? Like Poltergeist, the Crow, um there's probably some more, right? But like I think a lot of the time we're thinking about like horror movies. We think about
The
like cursed
Exorcist, I think
movies, The
people talk about
Exorcist.
that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so like lots of like movies about curses, right? Um
That's true, but I mean, the thing is, like, you could say, "Oh, Fitzcarraldo was cursed," but it's not a movie about supernatural stuff, so people don't say it's cursed,
exactly, right?
right?
Which is why it's on this list, right? We're allowed to talk about it. We can do whatever we want, but also we're allowed to talk about it because it is kind of, if we're using the same metric, crazy stuff happens on that too, right?
Yeah.
Um so I think there's some disparity in how we talk about like cursed movie sets, right? Like bad crap happens on movies, right? Like the production of movies. But so here's a few things that I want to point out about my argument, though, which isn't entirely like, I don't think this really defeats the argument, but I do want to point out a couple things. One is the lion thing, the cat that mauled the guy. Apparently, it was either a lion or a tiger, but there's conflicting arguments about either one, which
Huh.
feels weird because if someone died from something, you would think it'd be pretty easy to
Figure it
figure
out.
that out.
Yeah.
Also, apparently that charter plane thing. I looked for like a date. I looked for like where. I looked for something. I couldn't find any more information other than relating to the curse, which of course everything just says
Mm.
this happened, right? It doesn't say anything else. And you would think like a mass casualty thing like that in the 70s would be, and not that it didn't happen, it might have happened, but like it's weird that,
There's no source. You couldn't find a source.
yeah, nobody ever says, where the plane crashed or anything like that. Also, the IRA one, every site that you look on or every movie, every documentary you watch about this curse, right, uses like a totally different assortment of characters here. It says like I said, Neufeld and his wife, which I think the Shutter documentary I was watching, I think referred to it as the two of them. But then there's sites that say Neufeld and Peck were going to the restaurant, and that Neufeld and Donner were going to the restaurant, and then it was like a whole party at the restaurant with
Mm.
Peck and others. It said, and so I don't know what that's all about. You would think that you would remember, right? And it'd be pretty easy to verify who was going to a restaurant that dramatically got bombed right in front of your eyes when you were walking in.
Mm.
Also, the hotel one, it's like every site is using different stuff there. It's like, was it Donner's hotel? Was it Neufeld's hotel? Was it Peck's hotel? Was it the whole cast hotel? And so maybe that's because it was like the cast hotel and like or whatever, right? Maybe everyone's there, so people get, people say whatever they want. But it feels weird that like there's a lot of like weirdly like small little details that people don't seem to be very consistent on. I think that's natural on the internet. That happens.
Yeah, just in life, people eyewitness testimony, it varies, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I will say also, if you were promoting a movie, a really spooky supernatural movie, saying that the set was cursed and that this is real kind of thing, would probably be good for business as well.
Yeah, right. Like your production, you work in making this movie happen. You need money from the movie, so it's like it's a pretty spooky thing, right? It's like culturally influential, that type of spooky, right? It's like that level. You might as well just say it's cursed. That might do you some good. Um, Also, like none of these things actually, like you said earlier, it's close calls, and that's one of the things I had written down too.
Mm.
It's like none of these things not many of these things were actually happened. Like lightning striking a plane doesn't actually do anything. A plane works as like a Faraday cage, right? So lightning goes around the outside, but not actually damages anything. Um, and so I don't think I don't like know stats off the top of my head, but I imagine that planes get struck by lightning pretty frequently. Because again, they're built so that they can do that.
And they fly through clouds and stuff.
Yeah, right. And so plus like um the the bombings, the IRA bombings, these were kind of happening a lot. I mean, they were all over the place. And if you're working in that area at this time, you probably saw one or two, like I would guess. So I don't know. The fact that like, yeah, you could say like, oh, whatever. Yeah, the devil would do anything to stop this from happening. But then he failed a lot. Like
Mm.
he messed. He did not make anything. He did not really substantially delay anything here. It
Mm.
seems. Um,
Yeah.
and then also with the special effects guy, John Richardson, and his fiance getting decapitated. Um, that's really tragic and sad. But also, I I don't know if there's actually a sign that says 66.6 kilometers. That seems insane. Why would you do that? Um, not that like
Maybe they didn't know.
not that he was lying, but I don't know if like the sources online are really being truthful when they say that he claims this, right? Like,
Mm.
as a if I'm writing something up online, I can say that this guy claimed it and whatever. But
Yeah.
so it a lot of stuff that feels very like like it kind of feels pretty unfounded. I think the curse definitely helps add to the allure of a cursed movie, right? Like that makes it spookier and scarier, especially, I mean, I think, well, maybe now too today with like social media and stuff, but at the time, like word of mouth is huge, right? You people have to hear about the movie to see it, right? Today I feel like, you hear about every movie anyways, but like I guess with social media, you could probably start like a cursed movie campaign and do pretty well, I would guess. But
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I mean, yeah, I think that is very fair. I think it's most likely not the cursed movie set, but that's
I don't
okay.
know. I feel like it seems like sure it could be, but also it does seem just like a lot of things that almost happened and kind of happened, and then that I mean, hey, you can sell a movie by saying
Yeah.
that your movie about a curse is cursed, right? So
Yeah. Yep. That's true. And it worked. It was a big hit, spawned a whole franchise, you know?
huge.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So I overall, I really like the movie. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, yeah.
Um, the other thing I will say just about
Mm.
the curse thing is I watched the Shutter cursed films episode on this, and I have to tell people not to watch that series, I think.
Why is
I
that?
mean, hey, do it if you want, but like, go for it. But they had like uh Mace Newfield was on it, the
Who's that?
one of the producers. Which is where a lot of this like stuff comes from, apparently, is his things that happened to him. Um,
Oh, oh, gotcha.
yeah,
Not
but
the
and
producer of the
no,
show,
yeah,
the
right,
producer of the Omen. Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
and and they also just had a lot of like modern witches and people on that were just talking about how curses work and stuff. And I like, if that's your jam, go for it. But I don't think I'm ever going to watch another episode of it, just because I imagine that when they do another cursed movie, it's going to feel kind of the same. Um, and they give some obvious anecdotes about like things that happened. And then it's like, I think more than half of it was just talking about like generic curse stuff. And that's fine, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. So I think, again, maybe that is what you're looking for, in which case, cool. But if you are looking for stuff specifically about a movie, I would say maybe that's not. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Where else are you gonna
That's
watch it? I
fair.
guess. Whatever.
That is not what I would expect either. I would expect it to be mostly about the movie. So I think that's
Yeah,
a fair warning to
I
give
feel like
people.
actually it's funny because when I started it, I was like, they were just like rattling stuff off about like these things. They were just like bam, 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 and I was like, in the matter of like 3 minutes, maybe, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have way too many like notes from this thing. This is insane. And then pretty quickly they kind of stopped talking about it and they just did other stuff. And I was like, okay, well that made my note taking a little bit easier, but
Yeah.
also what?
Yeah.
So I don't know. And they made some interesting points about like, you know, we look for things, right? And that helps us find those things. Like if we're watching, if you're somebody that's into watching movies about the Antichrist, you might be somebody that's going to be more apt to see these patterns and think that they might be associated with like a curse, right? So it has some conversation in there, but largely I think I don't know if I'd recommend it. So just a heads up.
Gotcha. That makes sense. A
But I would
couple.
recommend this movie.
Yes, yes. I guess a couple other things I thought were interesting about the movie. I thought it was interesting how uh Catherine, the Gregory Peck's wife in the movie, the mother of Damien. Well, not the actually adopted mother, unknown adopted mother of Damien. So convoluted. She is pregnant and she wants to abort the pregnancy, and she's having all these like mental ill issues with mental illness and all this stuff. And uh, I think there's definitely an interpretation that that is the devil influencing her, and that is kind of an interesting way of looking at mental illness in general. And I don't know. I thought that was just kind of an interesting aspect of the movie. The movie doesn't fully explore it that much. Like obviously, she is a side character. It was the '70s. The man's going to be the main character. It's the way that's the way it was. But I thought that was an interesting aspect of the movie. Of they don't say that the devil is
Yeah.
controlling her or influencing her, but that seems to be what's happening. So I thought that was pretty well done, like with how it was subtle but also interesting. But I will say a not so subtle aspect of the movie was the music.
Oh yeah.
The music is they're hammering everything like big bombastic huge music, and it it was all right. It was a little
Oh
bit
wow.
much. It was a little bit much sometimes.
Wow.
But
I I love it. I think I get
mhm,
it though. It is a lot. It's very heavy-handed, the music,
yeah.
but I also just thought it kind of rocked. It's like to me it kind of felt like watching like uh an Argento movie or something with like Goblin as the score. Like I feel like
Mm.
it the overpowering kind of like kind of heavyish music is I don't know. I think it adds to the vibe really well. But
Yeah, definitely. And when the movie is so much about sort of spiritual warfare type of stuff, very like ethereal concepts. It's I don't know if that's the right word, ethereal,
yeah.
non-physical, metaphysical, supernatural, those type of concepts. Music can be a good way to express like those feelings and ideas without like people explaining it through dialogue or through exposition and dialogue and stuff like that. So yeah, I do get
But it's
that.
also a lot. Yeah.
It was a lot a couple times. And that's okay. It didn't ruin the movie or anything like that, but it was you know,
Yeah.
just something I noted.
Also interesting with the like you pointed out with the abortion maybe being like part of that, the devil trying to work through her or something. That's interesting considering Roe v. Wade was in 1973, I think. And so right around this time either way. And so in Black Christmas we see abortion coming up, right? And here we see abortion coming up. And
Mm.
again with like that pregnancy and child anxiety stuff, I feel like there's definitely a connection between like Roe v. Wade getting coming into law and like more anxiety around that type of stuff, right? Or at least more people being more open about that anxiety, maybe. But
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's an idea in the cultural consciousness, I guess, at the time.
the zeitgeist.
The zeitgeist. Yes, there you go. Also, funny thing at the end when Gregory Peck is trying to kill Damien, he's driving to a church so he can stab him at the altar,
Holy
and
ground.
he drives on Old Church Road, which I thought was funny.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't
Yeah,
notice that.
the
That's funny.
police are like talking on this car. They're like, he's turned onto Old Church Road, and then it shows the church. I was like, oh, there you go.
That's funny. Um, yeah, and also the end. It's not a happy ending, right? I think this is an interesting
Oh yeah,
thing. Right, as you get the Damien's. I think he's adopted by the president or something at the
yeah.
end. That's crazy.
Yeah, completely
Um,
insane turn of events. But yeah, he's about to be killed. The cops come and save the Antichrist from being killed by shooting Gregory Peck and killing him. And then they bury Gregory Peck and his wife. Not whatever. I think his character's name is Robert. But his yeah,
yeah,
he's
whatever.
Gregory. He's basically just Gregory Peck in the movie. Um and yeah, they're burying them, and you see Damien with the president and the first lady. And does he like turn to camera and like do a creepy thing, or is
I think
that
he
the
turns the
end?
camera and he looks at it, and then there's like,
Or he looks like right past it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, right, and it's kind of, I mean, just the look is creepy, right? But
Yeah. And then there's the quote from Revelation chapter 13 at the end, and that's the movie. So very creepy ending. Very
yeah, not a
yeah,
very optimistic ending.
no, not at all. The exact opposite of that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
But good ending, I think. Good ending to a horror movie.
yeah, absolutely.
Not literally a good ending, but a good way to end a horror movie.
Yeah, definitely. And I think at the time too, right? I think that's also like maybe part of this like 70s zeitgeist of like, maybe there's a little bit of
Unhappy ending.
yeah, right? Like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in at the time, right? So
Yeah, I feel like the 70s was the peak of the unhappy ending, in at least in popular American cinema.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Overall, I really like the movie. I'm glad I watched it. I haven't seen any of the sequels. I want to watch the first Omen, which is the prequel that came out last year. I was saying to Ryan that movie, I didn't see it when it came out, whenever that was, like maybe early 2024, maybe. But that is one of the coolest trailers I've seen in a long time, is which you should go and watch it like after this. It's
Yeah.
it's all in reverse. It's like I don't remember exactly which trailer it is. It might be one of the teaser trailers. I'm not sure, but all the shots are played in reverse, and it's like super creepy, and it tells you nothing about the story or it's just all creepy vibes, and
That's cool.
really great trailer.
That's cool. Big fan of those types of trailers. Just creepy. Don't have to tell me anything. Just
Yeah.
make me know what the vibe of the movie's gonna be. Um,
And also
yeah.
it's like it's the first Omen. You see there's nuns and stuff, and you're like, I kind of get where it's going. It's the first Omen. You don't have to tell me that. You don't have to spoil any of the plot stuff. I get the idea.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
So I
I
I will likely be watching that at some point soon.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, maybe I will too. I have not seen any of the sequels or anything else either. Um, but I'm definitely glad that I rewatched it. I think it's one of those ones where it's like it's been long enough where I think I have a better appreciation for it, and also like uh yeah, whatever. So I was very excited to watch it, and it hit. I fucking love this movie. It's good.
Nice, great, good. Should we
um,
do our ratings and the rating recap?
what'd you give
I
it?
gave it 3.5 out of 5.
All right.
Very good movie. I really liked it. Uh, Enjoyable movie. I wish the main character was a little more interesting to me. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like he was just a little bit bland, and I wasn't as like emotionally connected to the characters in the movie. I thought I mean, Father Brennan I thought was the most interesting character, and he's in only a certain small section of the movie. But that's okay. Overall, it was a really good, really enjoyable movie. So I liked it 3.5 out of 5.
Nice. I also really like it, as I've said. And I give it 4 out of 5. I kind of thought going into the rewatch that it'd be a little bit higher. And I think I appreciate some stuff more than I certainly did the first time. But I also think that some of it, like I think I also wasn't just there for the horror this time, and so some of it left me a little wanting maybe. And also again, like with the mystery element kind of being so hard to really appreciate today, I think. It's
Yeah.
that part of the movie kind of particularly stuck out to me. But
Yeah, and we know about the Antichrist stuff, but if they had told us a little bit more about who was doing it, who's like, is this nanny group like, is this nanny where the nannies come from? Are they all like controlled by Satan? Are they in a cult? Are they devil worshippers? I don't know. Like there could be
yeah,
potential for interesting stuff there. I wonder if they'll explore some of that in the sequel. It's possible.
that's what I was gonna say. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I guess many people maybe out there know
Neither of us do.
that, but well, and the recap for this is so we got a 3.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd, pretty good. 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, an 86% Rotten Tomatoes score, and an 81% audience score, averaging out to 7.85 out of 10. 7.85 out of 10. So that's pretty reasonable. I'm happy with that. I think that's actually that's funny. That's like right in between the two of us. So
Yeah, makes sense.
we're kind of like the perfect critics, we
There we go. I think it makes sense. Very, really solid, like just really solid horror movie. Holds up. The kills were good, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the story is interesting. So I enjoyed it. It was well made too. It it didn't like I get why it's not like 90% or anything like that. I don't think it's a groundbreaking like which like The Exorcist. It's just tough that
Yeah.
you're gonna compare it to The Exorcist. It's kind of inevitable. But so it's not that quite at that like groundbreaking level, but it's still really well made and enjoyable horror movie.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have that like unholy trinity there of like The Exorcist, this, and Rosemary's Baby, and it's like it's almost impossible to separate the three from each other now, because
Mm,
yeah, I mean they kind of in tangent have caused that whole cultural shift and everything that we talked about earlier. Not
interesting.
caused, but aided in it, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, I would say this out of those three, this one is the weakest in my opinion. I haven't seen The Exorcist or Rosemary's Baby in like a few years, either of them. So maybe I don't think
oh
my
yeah,
opinion would change on that, to be honest. Those are both like real classics. But yeah, that is a cool like unofficial trilogy that you could watch.
yeah, yeah.
I
But yeah, I
wonder
mean,
what I wonder maybe the best order is like well, we could just do chronologically, I guess would make sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you can do whatever you want, but it'd be interesting to do it like Rosemary's Baby. Like I don't know, like you could do it like in like age order in a way, like
In a way, you could watch Rosemary's Baby and The Omen like back to back, and it would be like the
yeah,
beginning of this is like right after the birth of the Antichrist. Well, I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah, right?
shouldn't talk too much about Rosemary's Baby, I guess. We're not spoiling that movie.
No, no.
All right.
Anyways,
Should we talk
so
about Burden of Dreams?
yes, this is your pick because it is also a very troubled experience in very maybe even a worse way than the Omen.
Yeah, yeah. So Burden of Dreams is the documentary directed by Les Blank, the one of the best. American documentarians of all time, I'd say. He filmed, behind the scenes of the filmmaking, the creation of Fitzcarraldo, Werner Herzog's 1982 movie about a megalomaniacal guy who wants to build an opera house in the middle of the Amazon jungle and has to, get financing for it and has to drive, whatever, maneuver a boat down the river through the Amazon and over a mountain to get into another river. And yeah, and that's kind of as Herzog says in the movie, that's like the central metaphor of the movie. It's like this Sisyphean task. I think Fitzcarraldo, the character, obviously there's a lot of parallels with Herzog, as he has this dream of this movie that he wants to make, and he will stop at pretty much pretty much nothing to make this dream a reality. Um, and yeah, this is kind of like one of the most infamous, I guess, Hearts of Darkness and Apocalypse Now is probably the most famous, like, uh, out of control movie set. But I feel like this might be number two. I guess you could do uh, Hearts of Darkness, Burden of Dreams, and Lost in La Mancha as three behind the scenes documentaries of like troubled movie sets.
That could be this trilogy.
Yeah, there you go. The trilogy of uh bad, difficult movie sets, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's filmed in like Les Blanc style. There's a lot of nice shots, a lot of really nice B-roll of Native Americans just kind of doing their day. A lot of Les Blanc's documentaries are kind of like ethnographic type of documentaries about not random, but about different niche subcultures in the US and like food and music, festivals, parties, like a lot of that type of stuff. And there are aspects of that in this where we will see like the Native American people making, I forget the name of the drink, but it's a fermented,
Yeah, Masato
uh
maybe.
yeah, masada, I think
Masada.
of it. Yeah. And it's like kava. I think that's what it's called, right? Kava, like,
Yucca.
oh,
Like the
yucca,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yuccas that are like mashed up and then
Chewed.
chewed in people's mouths and spit back out, and then it's fermented with the saliva to create, I guess, an alcoholic beverage. And we see them do that, and we see, shots of the jungle, the animals in the jungle, the daily, a lot of that kind of stuff. And I feel like that brings an interesting perspective to this. It's not just a basic making of documentary. It really feels like its own like movie.
Right.
um, yeah. So anyway, I'm yapping. That's the basic summary of the movie. But yeah, I'd seen this before, and I guess Ryan, what was your experience with this and Fitzcarraldo and all that?
Well, I was impressed by this. I thought this was really interesting, and I totally agree that I appreciated the look at the life of the people, particularly. Uh, Fitzcarraldo, I think I didn't like that much. I see that it's epic, right? I mean, in task in monument, right? It literally moves this giant thing over a mountain, and that's impressive. And also the shots are there's some really impressive shots, and obviously it's gorgeous. The rainforest, but also they're tearing down the rainforest to build the stupid movie, and you can and like you watch it happen, right? It's like and um yeah, and that's like I was kind of like I feel like I was torn because like part of what I really liked about it was the beauty of the scenery, and then also part of it's like okay, you're destroying the thing that I enjoyed about this movie to do the other thing that I don't really care about, because
Yeah.
moving a giant boat over some land seems like a terrible use of time. And anyways, and
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So I thought the movie was more visually appealing than anything else. And I thought that I didn't really care about the beginning when he's like it's setting it up, right? He's trying to do the opera thing, um and he gets kicked out of the party because I don't even remember why, but like there's just a lot of like a lot of beginning stuff that just feels so unnecessary. And then when it gets to the thing where he's actually trying to do it, there's some parts that I kind of thought were tense and interesting, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. I know I don't actually like that they're tearing this, but I'm kind of like, are they going to make it happen? You know, like so there
Yeah.
was actually some good moments of tension there, but there was too much in the beginning, and then uh, I don't know. I overall I thought I think that the troubled production is very visible in the movie in a way where like it feels like the uh I don't know, maybe not even the troubled production necessarily as much as just the what they're doing, right? The what they're doing for the production feels very real, right? It feels like they're really taking apart part of the rainforest, and they're really using a bunch of indigenous Americans as uh, laborers for extremely cheap and uh,
Hmm.
paid, but and they make a point in Burn of Dreams to say that it's like more than what people would be paying them, and it's like,
Yeah.
is it more than is it the same that you'd be paying people that were not indigenous to the area and
Yeah.
whatever?
No, they
But
pay them,
of
I believe
course.
it's $3.50 a day, which is twice what the average pay for like Native American labor would be in the country at the time. But also like that is the problem that people they were getting paid so little for. And there's an interesting part in Burden of Dreams where there's a shot of a it's a painting of an indigenous person with like carrying something on their back with like the strap around their head and they're carrying it. And then we cut and we see it the exact same positioning with a real person carrying stuff. And we see a bunch of different people that are just doing this like back-breaking labor like to make this movie happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think yeah, I pretty much agree with everything about Fitzcarraldo. I have not seen it in several years, and honestly, I didn't want to rewatch it this time. That's why I picked Burden of Dreams instead of Fitzcarraldo. I was like, I guess I don't have to watch it. But yeah, I Werner Herzog is like a fascinating director, and I think his like audacity and like desire to like make art and his value and how much he values art is all like things that have been celebrated over time. But I think as we as over time, for me personally, a lot of his early movies, he will do things that are morally wrong in order to make the movie happen, and it just does not sit right with me, especially in the big early in his early career where he's making a lot of like independent movies all around the world, and there's like super lax regulations and restrictions, and he's kind of just doing whatever. Like, I think in a way that like independent freedom making whatever that had a lot of appeal at the time, and like, oh, like this doesn't feel like a Hollywood production. This is like a different thing. Um, but yeah, I think that is just inherent to when you see the movie and you're like, these are real people that are like really doing this insane stuff. Like
Yeah.
this is fucked up.
Yeah, and then
And
also seeing it in Burden of Dreams, you see that like
yeah,
these people are walking around with they don't have shoes. They're carrying all the giant stuff, and you see like Werner Herzog walking with like nothing, right? Like he's just
yeah,
walking through, and people are literally trailing behind him, walking through this horrendous, like muddy and um very hard to navigate terrain, I'd imagine, right?
yeah,
With very little on and carrying so much, and sure he's paying them, and so they're like laborers, but also that argument doesn't really work when you're yes, you're paying them more than what
it's
other people are paying them, but you're still paying them based on their race and stuff, and so that's actually still
yeah,
bad,
it's
like
still exploitative, and there's no like safety regulations for any of this. There's no like another scene I think that was really telling was when they're filming they're Fitzcarraldo is Klaus Kinski and Claudia Cardinale they're arriving at this um village that lives on the sort of there's like houses on the water kind of a thing.
mm,
So they're in a boat and they're getting off onto this weird like dock type thing. And it's just like logs that are in the river. So it's awkward to walk on. And they film it over and over and over, which is that's making a movie. You're filming this thing over and over and over, but it's literally Klaus Kinski and Claudia Cardinale just getting out of the boat and just walking. But there's people carrying like heavy things, and it doesn't look like props. It looks like legit heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, and they have to do it over and over and over again because they slipped. Oh, they didn't do like just something stupid happens, which is what happens when you're making a movie. But you're making these people who are barely getting paid anything do this backbreaking labor over and over and over again, really completely unnecessarily. And
Yeah.
like when in a way I'm like the idea of, oh, when you're making a movie, like you want it all to be real. I want to do it for real. Sure, it sounds nice, but also I think it's really just an ego thing. And when you so there's I have the Criterion DVD of Burden of Dreams. I think it was recently re-released on Blu-ray, maybe, or maybe it's gonna be re-released on Blu-ray. I'm not sure, but I've had this DVD for years. But there's a supplement on it called uh, Dreams and Burdens, and it's like a 40-minute interview with Werner Herzog about from 2005 about Fitzcarraldo and Burden of Dreams and all this. And he talks about how in the 70s when he was trying to get this movie made, he was talking to Jack Nicholson and 20th Century Fox about making the movie. And they were like, well, yeah, we'll shoot it in San Diego and we'll use miniatures and we'll shoot it on a set. And like, that's how we'll make the movie. And he was like, nah, no way. Like, there's no way I'm doing that. And he wanted to go and do it like for real. And, uh, and he talks about he wants the audience to be able to trust their eyes and also trust their dreams, he talks about. And part of me says, it sounds nice, highfalutin. Oh, that's a cool idea. But the reality is, guess what? It's a movie. It's all fake. It's a bunch of people play acting in the woods, and you made them fly out into the jungle for really no good reason.
Yeah.
And and guess what? It's all fake. That's what a movie is. It's fiction. And the whole point is that it's fiction that points toward truths, that if it's
Right.
good. And you can do that without literally doing the thing, without literally carrying a real boat up a mountain. Like
Yeah.
you don't have like practical effects are awesome. I love them, but you don't need to exploit indigenous people and put their lives in danger. Uh just for this fucking movie.
Yeah. And this is like, I think the idea of like, a lie to tell the truth, right? That's what a movie is, right? And you when you're trying to do it this way and your main actor gets dysentery and then you have to move set locations because indigenous people burn it down because they don't like you. And then the indigenous people that you're finally able to work with get shot with arrows and all this crap happens and you still don't decide, okay, this is not the way to make this movie. It feels like yes, okay, there's the same idea that's being portrayed in the movie, right? Of like, oh, you've got to do everything you can to make your thing happen, right? It's like that's excellent, except you're like actually costing people their like people are getting hurt, right? Like people are getting shot with arrows. A
Yeah.
boat, your stupid ass giant boat slides onto two people, like, and then you put that in the movie. Insane.
Did that well, I don't know if that happened for real. I think that was just in the movie, I
Oh,
think.
it looked like in. I thought I could totally be wrong. I thought in Burden of Dreams, the a piece like actually broke, and then they still used that footage, and that's why the boat slipped. But I could totally be wrong.
It
That's what
could
I
be right.
thought
I
from there.
I didn't think it went back onto people,
Okay.
but maybe I could be wrong. I could be
No,
wrong.
I mean I could too, but yeah. So maybe ambiguous there, but still, I mean, like all these things are
But
going
regardless,
wrong.
like
Yeah.
there's so much risk for it, and he's basically saying like, yeah, what's the thing? Like, you, there's like a meme. It's a joke. Like, you'll have to put your life on the line, and that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Oh,
Like that's
the
what.
Lord Farquaad from
Oh
yeah.
yes,
Some
but
of
that's
you may die.
yes. And that's like literally every politician that like starts a war is like, oh,
Yeah.
some of you may die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. That's Werner Herzog, and he ultimately doesn't give a fuck. Like, I don't know. He talks about trying to get the people the legal title to their land, and it does seem like that did happen, um, like after the filming. So that is a good thing. But I think there's just I think there's a lot of ego and pride and hubris and like my vision is more important than anything else in the world, which is just not the truth. But that is the way and I don't know, when you're making movies, it's such a competitive thing that if you are like a psycho who's like who will do anything to make the movie, I guess in a way that is like a competitive advantage. Almost the way in capitalism, like if you're a psycho and you're like, yeah, I'll work 16 hours a day and like not have any family life, and I then that's actually your life is going to be miserable and you're going to be unfulfilled and you're going to have like a pit in your soul where there's missing like feelings and fulfillment and you know a spirit, a soul, all that kind of stuff. But guess what? You'll probably make a lot of money because that's a success. That's like rewarded in our current the way our economy and society is set up, which is fucked up. But that's the reality. And so like anyway, that I'm just saying that that way of approaching things was kind of v- venerated, I guess, if that's the right word, like upheld as, oh, this is awesome for a long time. And I think looking back, we can be like, yeah, this is just an egomaniacal person who is selfish, and that's more what's going on here.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's like, it's interesting to me that the making of documentary here is so much more interesting to me, whoops,
Hmm.
than the movie itself. I like, I think I like watching making of documentaries, and I like watching like behind the scenes things, but almost always as a I almost always only do that because of movies I enjoy, right? Like
Hmm.
I don't usually I don't sit down for a movie and then I'm like, oh, I didn't like that. Let me go look at how it's made. But
Hmm.
but this movie, I'm glad that I did that because the making of here, Les Blank does some really interesting stuff to be able to talk about this uh this big catastrophe and all these things that are going wrong, and also is able to like do things like interviewing the person that was shot with the arrows and interviewing Herzog afterwards when he had the arrows and talking about what are you going to do with them and things like that, right? And being able to point out that the Fitzcarraldo in the movie, the main actor, wouldn't actually drink the
Yeah.
yucca fermented stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, and interviewing the prostitute, right? Like there's all this
Hmm.
stuff in this that's actually really interesting in the terms of like how this big epic movie, what the cost of it was, right? And what actually happened behind the scenes here. And so it's just interesting to me because like normally I would not watch this for this movie. I would have been like, that movie I did not really like it. I don't really care what went on, but because this is I mean this is on the Criterion and it's so like well regarded and um and I don't know, there was just
Yeah.
something very good about watching this and understanding more about the what was going on there.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. I will say I do actually really like Werner Herzog. Like I've seen a lot of his movies, and I think a lot of it is obviously driven by ego and self-centeredness, I think, and not caring, not putting other people before his own needs. But I do think also like he is not some kind of a monster. Like I think it's a lot of it is out of maybe blindness to the danger that it is. And like you can see in his later movies, like there's Into the Abyss, which is 30 years after this, and that's all about death row inmates in Texas, I believe. And it's a really great documentary, very compassionate, and like clearly Werner Herzog like cares about humanity and does have care for other people. And I mean, that could also be an element of that changes and grows over time in people. And also like so I do think a lot of his actions are dangerous and like wrong. especially in this early era of his like filmmaking career and in Fitzcarraldo. But I don't want to say like the guy is some demon that is horrible. So I do want to,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
throw that caveat in there because I was like, damn, I kind of went really hard at Herzog, and I kind of love him. Like he's kind of like he has like the best voice ever. Like he's made a lot of great movies. Like I don't know, like so I didn't want to go too hard at Herzog.
Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. It's also valid to critique, like,
Yeah,
the process here for sure.
exactly. And you
Um,
can still appreciate his movies and criticize certain things that people have done. Like people are going to make mistakes and do things that are wrong, and that's life. That's literally everyone, right? But and also another part of the movie to go back to criticizing Herzog. Um, well,
so,
this is
anyways,
yeah, but this is actually more. So there's a scene where they're like harvesting rubber, and there's a Brazilian actor from like Brazilian telenovelas, I guess, and he's there, and there's I think Les Blank's like the way he cuts. Well, him and Maureen Gosling, who she like co-directed some of his documentaries, I think. So they were like very close collaborators. She edited the movie. Um, like the way that they edit things together is like subtle, but you can see what they're trying to say just with the editing and the juxtaposition of things. And this is a perfect example of it where there's this guy and you know, he's like he's like acting is like self-actualization and it can be really tough or whatever, but it's I do it because I love it type of thing. And then right when he's done saying that, you see someone a woman carrying this thing on her back, and she's going like on the side of a hill, and it's all muddy, and it's like this super precarious situation, and it's like, oh yeah, you are an actor like pretending,
right.
and this is the person that's putting themselves at risk. And they don't say it in the voiceover, they don't explicitly tell us that, but if you're a an active audience member, you're like you can see the juxtaposition right there without them having to beat you over the head with it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, it's the same with like that getting out of the boat scene. It's like, these two people that they have to keep redoing all this for are making a ton of money getting out of a boat here. Right. And all the people that are holding and carrying these giant things the whole time are not getting that same money, and
Yeah.
they're doing, uh, you know, much more physical hard work, right?
Yes.
Um,
And Klaus Kinski is notoriously like a horrible, horrible person. So yeah. And if you want to see more about that, and there is a scene, so it's called My Best Fiend, is the documentary by Werner Herzog all about his relationship with Klaus Kinski. They made 5 movies together, and Klaus Kinski was a completely insane person. He would scream and yell at people like an absolute raving madman. He was genuinely crazy. Uh, and yeah, he that is a fascinating documentary that also shows I think there's a scene in that Les Blank shot but didn't put in Burden of Dreams of Klaus Kinski kind of like freaking out on set. And yeah, like there have been times where Kinski and Herzog like wanted to kill each other, where it was just a completely insane relationship. So if anyone like is interested, they should 100% check that out. It's a very interesting, fascinating documentary. But just to goes to show like, oh yeah, this horrific person is making all this money, and then these you know these indigenous people are barely getting they're getting 350 a day to walk through the mud and put their lives in danger and you know do all this backbreaking labor. So yeah, the without Les Blank or the I forget the person who does the voiceover, I forget who that
mhm.
was, Candace Laughlin. Like without them explicitly saying it, it's just self-evident the exploitation that was going on, I think.
Yeah,
At
definitely.
least from my perspective. And
Yeah,
seems like from yours too.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and also, I think similarly with the juxtaposition stuff is there's a lot of scenes of just the wildlife, especially towards the end, where it's just like showing it's like close-ups of like there might have been a beetle or a couple butterflies and stuff, and just lots of
Yeah.
the wildlife, but mostly on like what looks like areas that were kind of like decimated for the giant track, right? Like, and I feel like maybe they were trying to say something here of similarly on the lines of like, you know, there's a lot of this beautiful wildlife here, right? And while Werner Herzog refers to it as the place that that God never finished or something, right? And
Mhm,
says that everything there is trying to kill you and stuff. Like there's a lot of that
mhm.
beautiful wildlife, and also you're for this movie we've destroyed so much of it, right? Like not, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
the Amazon rainforest is massive, and they really, it's not like they tore down anything near what we tear down all the time for like logging and stuff. But I mean, it's still not a. I don't think it's a feat we should be proud of for tearing
Yeah.
down all these trees. But
Yeah. 100%. And it's interesting. At one point in Burden of Dreams, the voiceover says that at this rate, by 2010, the entire Amazon basin will be destroyed
cleared,
or
yeah.
cleared. Yeah. And I don't know, like, has that happened? Did it slow down? Did they?
I think it must have slowed down. I assume,
I just thought that
because
was interesting because now we're
yeah,
we're 15 years past that.
yeah, which is great, right?
Yeah.
I think similarly, like there was like the ozone, right? Like everyone was there was like the hole in the ozone that's now shrunk a little bit, considerably, because we've stopped like hydrofluorocarbons. Um and our air conditioners and refrigerators don't just pump garbage into the atmosphere anymore. Um and so like I think similarly, hopefully it seems like maybe we've made a turn to the right direction, even though we still obviously have a lot of work to do. But
Yeah. Yeah.
anyways,
And
that was a tangent. Sorry, but
that's okay. That section that also with the little montage of all the wildlife and stuff was in between Herzog's quotes, one of which was at the beginning, and just just iconic. One just a great sequence. I love that. It's just like he's had such a miserable time trying to make this movie. He's in complete despair, and everything around him he just views as like basically hell. And
yeah.
really, he's only done this to himself. Um, so yeah, but there is the very funny quote that I do kind of want to read. Uh, quote: Taking a close look at what's around us, oh, I should do the voice. Hold on.
I was wondering if you're gonna do it. Yeah.
Werner Herzog. Taking a close look at what's I can't I lost it. I lost it. I lost it. I lost it. But the, taking a close look at what's around us, there is some sort of harmony. It is the harmony of overwhelming and collective murder. I love that one. Very,
Yeah.
very and it talks about the vileness and the baseness of the jungle.
Right.
Uh
Which again, yeah, like you said, right? It's juxtaposed with the images of uh butterflies and
yeah.
colorful beetles and things, and
Yeah. Yeah. It's maybe this is also an interesting aspect maybe we should talk about that there were like obviously they were there for like 6 months filming and there was two camps and they had separate camps for the native people and for the European people. Uh and he explains it as like he doesn't want European culture contaminating the Native American people, and he thinks maybe there'd be more conflict if there was just one camp. Uh, and I thought that was interesting as just kind of because I don't know, like, is it? I don't know which way would be better. I'm not sure.
yeah, I think that's definitely an interesting piece, because it's like also like many of the indigenous people in certain background scenes and stuff here had like graphic t-shirts and stuff. It's like
Yeah,
I don't know. I would wonder how much influence they actually had anyways, and also um I is I think I wonder if the intent is really as wholesome as trying to preserve their culture.
right. Is it also? we don't want to deal with them and we want our own separate area. Also, there was an interesting part early, like when they're at that sort of like town on the dock or whatever, and there's a sort of shack house building thing with Coca-Cola signs on it. So like clearly Western culture has infiltrated to some degree. I mean, obviously that was more built up and more of a more, I don't know how to describe it. When they're filming, they're kind of just in the middle of nowhere. There's no villages or cities around. It seems like they're kind of just in the middle
Yeah,
of an uninhabited part of the jungle,
right.
of the rainforest, whatever. They call it the jungle in the movie. I don't know if jungle is the right way. Maybe I should say rainforest. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
whatever.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so
Um,
so yeah, you're right. And we see the t-shirts and stuff like that. So like,
and then also at their camp, at the camp for the highly paid actors and
and
cast
the
and crew,
crew, yeah.
they get like, Werner Herzog gets them prostitutes and what
Yeah.
other amenities do they have, right? That
And they're playing cards. It seems like they have better living
yeah.
stuff going on rather than the indigenous people.
Yeah, and actually, I think this might be a spot where they did this juxtaposition as well, where they showed us, their Herzog and a few other people are talking about, well, there's nothing we can do about them not having their families here. There's nothing we can do about them, uh, something else.
There's conflict like between people, like
Yeah,
social conflict, women fight. We see women fighting about over a man type of stuff.
yeah, and then and they say, and the soccer ball is a big issue. We have to figure out what
Yeah.
to do, and it's like, and then
So
you see them playing cards, and everyone's swimming in the water and
mhm.
whatever. So it's like,
And they can't even get them a second soccer ball that doesn't have a hole in it.
right,
Yeah.
and yeah. So is it because you want to make sure that we don't degrade their preserved culture, or is it because of other prejudice beliefs and things, not that like necessarily inherently like intentionally hostile, right? But like,
Yeah.
you know is that kind of part of, I'm sure that's part of it that's going on there, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
uh,
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Good way to put it. I think it's pretty amazing how this documentary like can bring up all of these things and the unethical ways the production was handled, without ever directly commenting on most of it. Like there is a little bit of voiceover, mostly toward the beginning,
yeah,
of kind of just background about Peru and Brazil and just just basic background stuff, probably so we're not completely lost. Um, which I which was fine, but as we get into it, like it really just shows us what's going on, and just through the editing and filmmaking, like where it does show the dark side of this production without feeling like you're being lectured or anything like that. It's very, very much, and it feels like there are scenes where like it feels like you're there. It feels so authentic and everything. So yeah, it's a really impressive documentary.
yeah. And it also, I think, in a way, ironically, because of the way that Herzog here almost mirrors Fitzcarraldo in the movie,
Yeah,
it
definitely.
kind of gets to the same theme that the movie was trying to get to, in a way too, of like, although maybe in a more like, I don't
More
know.
critical way.
Right. Exactly. Right. But it's literally, we're watching essentially the same process happening, but with a real life character who's having impacts on real life people, as opposed to a fictional character who whatever. So I think that's
Hmm.
an interesting aspect too, that here, like the it's like, the whole like life imitates art, which imitates life type of thing is happening here, where it's like, and this is like technically kind of based on a true story, I think. um
Yeah, yeah, somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, I
The
mean, I think in the real
Fitzcarraldo is somewhat,
story, yeah, and I think in the real story, like they actually take apart the boat, maybe, or something.
yeah, into 14 pieces, they said,
Yeah, and so
which seems like a way better way to transport a boat over land.
yeah, why would you just pull it? That seems terrible.
Yeah,
And so anyway, so like, it's kind of like that cycle there of like life imitating. He's kind of inspired by this, I guess, real life thing to make his dream happen here of this real thing. which makes the fictional thing blah blah, right? So
Yeah.
it's interesting that the making of this has similar themes, although through a more critical lens as the original
Yeah.
or the movie.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of similar with Apocalypse Now and Hearts of Darkness, where it's like they're going in the jungle and the war is making them crazy, but then in the documentary, it's the making the movies making him crazy and going into the heart of darkness. And so yeah, that these are definitely like companion pieces of, you know, uh filmmakers going crazy in the jungle uh while trying to
Yeah.
make their passion project.
Yeah, it's interesting. In a way, this episode kind of has two little mini episodes that people could do on their own. They could do this and that, and they could also do the Omen and like the Exorcist or something, which are both like that
Yeah.
cursed environment, right? So two, I
Mhm.
think it's interesting that we took very different aspects that both have kind of a nice companion to them. But
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of places you could watch go from this. Like Les Blank has a bunch of really good documentaries. There's one it's a short, it's like 20 minutes long. It's called Werner Herzog Eats His Shoe. And in the film, Werner Herzog eats a shoe. So yeah, that is something people should watch. Basically, Les Blank films this event that happens at UCLA where uh, in the late 70s, Werner Herzog was talking to Errol Morris, the documentarian, and Errol Morris was like, I just don't know, think I can make this movie. Like, I need the funding, blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to make Gates of Heaven, but he didn't think he could. And Werner told him, if you make Gates of Heaven, if you make a movie, I'll eat my shoe. And that helped give him the motivation. And then once he made the movie, he he did it. It's a great documentary. It's about the power of art. It's about perseverance. It's about that motivation to get shit done, you know? And really great
wow,
documentary. It's also on the Criterion DVD. So
nice. I'm
uh
fascinated by the logistics of trying to eat a shoe, and I'll have to watch this.
yeah, I don't want to spoil
Yeah,
too much. It's
yeah.
only 20 minutes
It's
long.
only 20. Yeah, you can't. You tell me how they
But
do it, and then I'm not gonna watch it. So
but Les Blank has like so many great documentaries, like the Blues According to Lightning Hopkins or All in This Tea. Like he has so many really great documentaries about all different types of subject matter and stuff. So you could watch Les Blank movies. You could go watch a bunch of Werner Herzog movies. You could watch My Best Fiend about Klaus Kinski and Werner's working relationship. Aguirre, The Wrath of God is probably the most similar to Fitzcarraldo in Werner's like filmography. But yeah, so and then yeah, like you said, you could watch the Omen sequels, you could watch The Exorcist and its sequels, you could watch Rosemary's Baby. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
there's. I mean, yeah, it's we've got two little niches here that people can really explore in cool ways.
Yeah, that's a cool thing about movies. Like there is you can like watch something and there can be like these webs and it's like, oh my gosh, like the person who shot this also shot this movie and you can watch that where this was this person, they acted in this. Oh, I really like that. And you can go watch some of their movies. Like there's always
Yeah,
always things to explore.
yeah, which is unfortunate for my watch list, but
I
very.
know. My watch list is ridiculous, but I put everything on my watch list because
Yeah,
on Letterboxd they'll tell you like at least
yeah,
with I don't know if it's pro and patron or just the patron option, but they like will send me an email like, "Oh, all these movies that are on your watch list are currently on streaming services." And I'm like, "Oh,
that you
thank you."
subscribe to,
That's
right?
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Your
exactly.
services specifically. So
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. Like that's super helpful.
sponsored. No, I'm just kidding.
But shout out, I like Letterboxd.
Oh yeah,
I'll say
no,
that for free.
absolutely.
That's super
And
helpful for people who want to watch movies.
absolutely. I mean, it's that we put all of our stuff on Letterbox, right? We have reviews that go out on our Letterbox and they linked everywhere else. So like, yeah, we're huge fans. Um, but
It's great.
anything else about Burden of Dreams that you wanted to mention?
No, I think I pretty much got out what I wanted to say. I will say like when Werner Herzog talked about people who want like an interesting part of the movie that we kind of skipped past is that originally this movie was starred Jason Robards and Mick Jagger, and Mick Jagger was a sort of sidekick to Fitzcarraldo, and they basically Jason Robards got sick. He got some kind of like dysentery, and he
Yeah.
had to go. I think he flew back to the U.S. and his doctor was like, "You're never going back to the Amazon rainforest ever again." And so they filmed, I believe they said 40% of the movie for maybe 5 or 6 weeks. And obviously they hadn't done the boat over the mountain, thankfully. But but yeah, they filmed all that stuff. We get to see Robards and Mick Jagger out at the top of the clock tower going crazy, and maybe one or two other scenes with them. So that is a really cool aspect to the movie. And then uh, so Robards gets sick, has to leave. Mick Jagger has to uh, quit because he can't do all the reshoots because he has obligations for the Rolling Stones. I think they're like going on tour or something. And so people want him to abandon the project. And like he says, the quote on IMDb is, quote, "If I abandoned this project, I would be a man without dreams, and I don't want to live like that. I live my life or I end my life with this project." End quote.
Insane.
And that is that see, that's the cool aspect of Werner Herzog. But like that's just an awesome quote. So yeah. But
Yeah. And that's I feel like it's interesting that section at the beginning that talks about this stuff, partly because we get to see those cool scenes that you know we wouldn't have seen because they would have been lost, right? But also because it's kind of it's an uncomfortable reminder of how long this process was, and they bring this up a few times that at the beginning they spent a little bit over a month and they got 40% of it done, and then it's like okay, but then they had to wait and they had to recast and they had to reshoot, and then they had to and then the water was too low for some of the stuff, and even at the very end the water was too low. They had to wait until wet season to literally just be able to move the boat again, and they had already gotten it over and everything, and so all the like when you're working in a rainforest, right? And you can't control all these things. Like
mm,
it's inevitable that you'll have delays. And it seems like this movie really caught a ton. I mean, I think it ended up being, was it, I forget if it was like 6 months or something that they were in the rainforest.
yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the scene of them on the boat when the boat is going through the rapids, just crazy.
Oh, yeah.
When the cinematographer gets like cut up and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah. You could question a lot of the choices in like what needed to be done the way it was and what could have felt as real if you did it a slightly different way. And I think that's one where to me I was like I certainly think in this moment, even watching it before I watched Bird and Dreams, I watched that one and I was like, oh wow, I'm curious how they did this because there's no way they actually put people on this boat. They actually put people on that stupid. That's insane.
Yep.
Like, yeah. So
Th-
yeah.
this is what I'll say. We just had an episode about one battle after another. Werner Herzog is just like Tiana Taylor. He's first of all, he's caked up. That guy's thick as hell. Second of all, no, I'm just kidding. Second of all, no, for real though, he has like these good ideas, but he's like this crazy thrill seeker that just will just needs the thrill, needs the craziness, and that is the downfall, similar to Tiana Taylor's character in One Battle After Another. Huh?
Wow. That's brilliant.
Uh-huh. So comment down below who's thicker, Presidia Beverly Hills or Werner Herzog?
uh
Who's
that's one way to comment, I suppose. Yeah.
yeah, who's the better musician, Tiana Taylor or Werner Herzog? Who has a nicer voice? No, actually, I'm not. I don't mean to be. I don't mean to be like making fun of Tiana Taylor. She's awesome, but Werner Herzog, man, what a
um
guy, what a character, one of the
what a
most unique
character.
characters in cinema history, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think this documentary especially really shows just how much he kind of represents or is represented in this movie, right? Like this Fitzcarraldo character really is him making the movie.
Yeah,
Like it's weird how much that mirror is applicable.
yeah, yep, pretty cool. Great documentary. Is that? Are we done? Are we all set with Birds and Dreams?
Yeah, I think I don't think I have anything else to add to it.
I'm good. All right. Do you have the rating recap? We can give our ratings
I
first.
do. I do.
I gave it 4 stars. Four
Nice.
out of five. Great documentary. Yeah, it's classic. And I think anyone interested in movies like should check it out.
Yeah. I also gave it 4 out of 5. I have a hard time rating documentaries generally.
Hmm.
I don't know if I've seen enough like great documentaries to like know a good like scale for them.
Hmm.
But this I mean this was awesome. It was great. The only issue I had with this is that I had to watch Fitzcarraldo. And I don't even know if that's really the case, honestly. You could probably watch this and appreciate a lot of it without watching the movie, but it is nice to have that background. But
Yeah, well, yeah, it's funny because the very beginning of Burden of Dreams, Werner Herzog basically just explains the plot of Fitzcarraldo. So I do think you could watch this without watching Fitzcarraldo and, get
yeah.
enjoy it the same amount, get the same, pretty much the same amount of it.
Yeah. And you're spending like 2.5-ish hours less of your time, which is
Yeah,
pretty
a
good.
lot of people really love Fitzcarraldo though. We're a little bit on
Right.
the outskirts, so maybe people would love it too.
That's true. I mean, the rating recap, people do seem to really like it. It's got 7.9 out of 10 on
Wait, is
IMDb.
this Fitzcarraldo or Burden of Dreams?
Sorry, this is Bird of Dreams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good call. But yeah, I don't have one for Fitzcarraldo actually, which is
That's
what I was
fine.
trying to.
Oh,
But yeah, but
Fitzcarraldo
anyways,
is not the movie we're talking about Burden of Dreams
no.
here.
But also, I mean, people really do. I mean, yeah, I forget what the ratings are, but people do like Fitzcarraldo, and that's great. And I hope that you guys do if you've watched it, because uh, I hope that you enjoyed that time that you spent. But this movie is also really well received with a 7.9 out of 10 on IMDb, a 4.1 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 91% for both audience and critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, which is an average of 8.575. So out of 10. So a pretty good average there. Um, in the eights, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's totally worth the time that you're spending, and I do wonder. I'm like I'm like, I wonder how I would have felt about this one if I didn't watch Fitzcarraldo first, because I feel like I probably
Hmm.
would have felt exactly the same about this. Except for maybe the fact that like going into this and not liking Fitzcarraldo, I might have been like more like this got me like kind of like heated in a way, and I was like, yeah, that yeah,
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, fuck that movie. Yeah, I get
So
you.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on, but I mean, also it's just a
gotcha.
really well made thing. So really
Yeah.
great.
All right. Well, that's it. This has been episode 28 of the Mind Your Movies podcast. Little update. We're going to do the category cup. But before I do that, I want to say that next week we're going to have an episode, and the topic is going to be what to watch on Halloween. Yeah, it's October, people. We're ready. It's spooky season. We did a horror movie this week that worked out. Who knows what we'll get in the category cup? But so yeah, that is our next episode coming next week. Follow us, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on the podcast apps, and that should be out. Our episodes come out on Thursdays usually, unless we decide to put one out early, like we did
Yeah.
with One Battle After Another.
Right. And
But
so, yeah, and that will be fun. We're going to be talking about 5 movies each, and we have some small, like, nano categories that we'll talk about then.
yeah,
Um, but so you'll get 10 movie recommendations depending on how you're feeling.
yes,
do you want funny? Do you want gory? White, blah, blah, blah. So
yeah.
you'll hear all about that next week.
Yes, that'll be a fun episode. Then we'll do episode 29. And then we have coming out the day before Halloween, episode 29 and a half. We're gonna do our top 5 underseen horror movies. So I think that'll be like under 50,000 views on Letterboxd. I think
Yeah.
that's our metric. So we got a couple cool half episodes coming out for the month of October for the Halloween season.
It's the best season. So hopefully everyone will enjoy those.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you what, when we pull this category, you can be damn sure I'm gonna try to fit my Hooptober categories
Mm.
here to see if I can get something that fits.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
A little
So,
bit of
speaking
crossover.
of, if you're on the YouTube, I got the category cup up right now. I'm shaking it. I'm picking my eyes are closed.
Time to find out what we're getting.
This will be our
Bottom
episode
250
in 2 weeks. I've already done that. Thankfully we can't again.
of IMDb.
Ooh, Paul Verhoeven.
Oh, okay.
Nice. All right. This will be fun. The famous Dutch director, obviously most known for his work in Hollywood. But yeah, I mean, he has a great filmography, a lot of great rewatchable movies.
Oh yeah. Um,
So yeah,
this is cool. I just rewatched Starship Troopers not too long ago, and uh, I that's an awesome movie. Uh,
yeah,
I
it is
know.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
I this is the thing. I love RoboCop, love
yeah.
Total Recall, love Starship Troopers. Showgirls is one of the most insane movies that would be fun to talk about. I mean, and then there are a few that I haven't seen yet that I could also pick as really good options.
Yeah. I know. I wonder if I
When
can. Yeah. What?
if you picked Starship Troopers, would you rewatch it or would you?
I would probably rewatch it. It was I mean I rewatched it in like April, but that movie's awesome. I would
Oh, okay.
if I have time, I'll probably watch it because
Yeah, yeah, that was a while ago. That's six
yeah,
months.
that's a decent amount of time.
Is that 6 months? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I feel like I feel like this would be a good time to pick one of those big movies. I'm also looking at his filmography, and a lot of his movies are not streaming on services that I have.
Uh
There is one called Flesh and Blood, which I've never seen, and it has Rutger Hauer in it. Rutger Hauer's awesome, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Have you ever seen Showgirls?
that I have not seen Showgirls.
Hmm. One of a kind movie.
The the ratings on Letterboxd have a slope that kind of looks very similar to maybe something that Werner Herzog would try to put a boat over.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
And we're back. We had a long excited talk about which of these movies we're going to pick. We're both pretty excited about kind of a lot of these. So after strenuous decision making, I finally picked Showgirls.
Nice. And I went with Total Recall. It was a tough one. I think Total Recall and RoboCop were my top two, and but I think Total Recall just I went with my heart, and
Mm,
Total Recall is such a bonkers movie that I just felt like I had to pick it. But there's a good chance I'll rewatch RoboCop in the next 2 weeks, and we'll talk about it without spoilers on that episode.
yeah, yeah. I was between Showgirls and Starship Troopers, but I kind of recently watched Starship Troopers, rewatched it. I've seen it a couple times, and I haven't seen Showgirls yet, so might as well fill in some gaps here. So, and I don't know, it should be weird and exciting and weird and weird. So that's cool. I'm into
Yeah.
it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Um,
this will be a fun episode. So it's called Total Recall. Perfect title.
it's
Worked
perfect.
worked out perfectly. All right. Well, that'll be
Yeah,
an exciting episode. We got some Halloween stuff. We got some Paul Verhoeven. This will be a fun October for us.
that's right. And we always want to know what you guys are up to. So tell us what your October looks like. What movies are you excited for? Are you doing Hooptober? If so, what are some of
Yeah.
your most excited for watches this season?
Yeah. And comment down below, like, what's your favorite Paul Verhoeven movie? Maybe what are some movies with like cursed sets or anything like that? If anyone has any stories like that. If anyone has any stories of themselves dealing with cursed
Oh
things, that'd be
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
But yeah, so we always love the interaction. You can go to our Reddit r/mind your movies. You can post there. You can comment on the YouTube, and yeah, follow us on Letterboxd. Mind your movies, all one word. And we also have our personal Letterboxds linked on that account. And yeah, you can find us on YouTube and all the podcast apps. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all that stuff. Uh, I guess that's that. Is there anything else we should say before the end of the episode?
just that one more thing.
Don't forget to mind your movies.
Yeah.